Hey Andre, if I gave you $57,000, would you buy a Wrangler or a Gladiator? In other words, would you buy a car or a truck?
Well, that's a tough question, but I can't really decide, dude. How do we decide this?
Well, that's what we're going to find out in this video. All right, Andre, let's take the Wrangler first because it is really the off-road standard.
It's the benchmark.
Yeah, I mean, let's face it, it's the one that's been around the longest since the Second World War. The Bronco is here, but it's come and gone. The Scout is coming back, but this is the one that's been here since the beginning. So I think that they have set the standard with this. And going down logs here, we can check to see just how much head bob we get, because the thing about solid axles is that while they're not great on-road, they certainly are very good off-road. So let's see how much head bob you're getting going down logs. How do you feel?
And I don't feel great, but I think solid axles are more important for articulation, right?
Yeah.
When you do need that kind of maximum articulation and also pressure against the ground because you want traction, right? That's when the solid axles really come into play.
Yeah, we don't have the disconnectable sway bar here, which would help.
And we're not aired down.
And we're not aired down, but we're only doing the pit, so we're really not off-roading for an entire day. So we're just kind of testing them the way they came from the factory, which is fine, I think.
Yeah. But you're right, everybody wants to be Wrangler, right?
Yeah.
Everybody wants to either be like a Wrangler or they want to beat the Jeep Wrangler at its own game.
All right, so before we go up rocks,
Boulder Boulevard, you mean?
Yeah, Boulder Boulevard. Let me put it in 4 low, put it in neutral.
Okay.
Put it in 4 low, and then I'm
Nice.
going to hit the off-road mode, which will also help appropriate power to where there is grip. And the question
Nice.
I have is, will we hit on anything?
Well, that's the most important question because you do have a little bit more clearance here than in the Gladiator.
Tommy and I just did this trail in Moab, and we were one of 25 Jeeps and the only one that wasn't on 35s, because I believe you can just throw 35s on these without doing anything. And while we did, scrape our bottom a lot, I wasn't too worried about it because this thing does have skid plates.
A lot of protection.
Yeah. But having said that, when you hit, it still hurts.
Yes.
Not the Jeep, just my back.
Well, the Jeep hurts a little bit.
Oh! Ooh!
Wait, something did touch.
Yeah, look at that. And that might have been a side rail, a rock rail. Huh. Well,
Okay,
there you go.
that was a surprise, actually. I didn't expect that.
Yeah, I wonder what the Gladiator will do, huh? Well, that's gonna
Please
be.
don't say that.
It's got a couple inches less ground clearance.
Well, here's the thing about the Gladiator. It's got
Like
a
1 inch
wheelbase
less.
that's, this is 118.
Yeah.
The Gladiator is 137. So that's 19 inches more wheelbase than the Gladiator, which makes its belly
For a worse breakover
a
angle.
lot more vulnerable,
Yeah,
right?
Yeah. All right.
Just like my belly.
Yes, mine too. Andre, it's really rare to get two vehicles that are priced almost identical to each other. But under the hood of the Wrangler is a Pentastar. What you got under the hood of the Gladiator?
Well, that's funny because I have an identical engine. This is a 3.6 liter V6 Pentastar that's been around for what, a decade and a half?
2,000 years.
And they have the same horsepower and torque ratings.
Also, what makes this unique, Andre, is that both of these are the Willys 41. In other words, they're styled after the very first Jeep back from the Second World War.
When the Gladiator first came out in 2020, we said it was a Wrangler with a bed. And Jeep said, no, it's actually a truck, which is a Jeep truck. But look at this. If you look at the front door and the rear door up to here, it's a Wrangler.
Yeah, it's definitely a Wrangler with a bed, Andre. I think that's something that even Jeep would admit to now.
But look how much longer it is, dude.
The point of this video, of course, is to help you decide whether you want a car or a truck. So now that we've agreed, Andre, that this is the same as this, except that this has a bed, let's talk about the differences, starting with the payload.
These two Jeeps look amazing, but the payload is less than amazing. On the Wrangler, it's an SUV. It has 850 pounds of payload, which is okay for an SUV, but let me show you the truck. For a pickup truck, I expect a pretty good payload, over 1,000 pounds, but it's 835 pounds in this case.
Andre, you're right. The payload on both of these vehicles isn't grand, but if you're looking for something that tows, you got to go with the Gladiator, because at its best, a Wrangler will only tow 5 6,000 pounds. How about the Gladiator?
That's right, dude. The Gladiator is rated between this model's 6,000 pounds of towing capacity up to 7,700 pounds of towing capacity. But once again, in order to tow that large trailer, you need to have the payload. So you got to be kind of careful about which model you buy.
Let's just not lock the rear diff here, because let's see how the off-road mode appropriates power to the wheel that has it. And I'm not going to use the Nathan method, so I'm not going to use momentum. I'm just
You're not going to 11 right now?
No, I'm just going to go very slow, so
Okay.
it will get stuck, and then the Jeep's going to have to figure out where to send the power. In other words, it's going to have to send the power or the torque to the wheel that's not in the air.
Okay.
So far so good. Uh-oh, there we go. It's thinking, and it figured
It took
out.
it a couple seconds.
Yeah, it did take it a little bit of time,
Yeah.
but I figured it out. There we go, it's thinking again, it's braking the wheel. Oh, it's teeter-tottering a little bit.
A little bit of dust coming up.
But, yeah, I wasn't, oh, we're going backwards. Ooh. There it goes, it figured
it out.
Yeah.
But if you lock that rotary differential, it will be a little bit more constant speed, right?
Yeah.
You would get that constant motion.
Let's try the approach and departure angle. Let's do that last. I'm curious to see, I think they should have very similar approach departure, shouldn't they?
No, the Gladiator has a worse departure angle because that bed is hanging up above it.
Well, see, that's why you don't want a bed.
No, you do want a bed because you want to carry things.
I can
tall
carry,
things.
I can carry stuff in the back of the Jeep. It's got enough room back there. All right, so this test approach and departure angle, lava lane. Let's see how this one does. Let's see.
Well,
if it
the
hits.
approach angle is amazing in the Jeep, right?
Yeah. Here we go. Normally, at about this point, we'd be hitting and nothing. How about the departure? Nothing. Look at that.
Clean as a whistle.
Yeah, easy peasy lemon
Very
squeezy.
nice.
All right, let's jump into the Gladiator.
The best part of a pickup truck is the pickup bed, and this has it. It's a 5-foot bed, which in this case has a tonneau cover. But Gladiators never had a very deep bed, but this also makes it easy to reach. I can actually basically touch almost any portion of this side, so it's pretty handy.
While Andre's showing off his bed, I'm going to show off my tires. These are BFG KO2s, which in my opinion are better all-around off-road tires. And if you're talking about off-roading, this is the better rig because it's got more breakover because it's shorter. And that's why when we recently went to Moab and ran some trails, we took this instead of that.
Okay, Roman, the KO2 is a pretty good all-terrain tire, but I also really like this Firestone Destination MT2. It's their latest generation of this tire. However, it's a little bit smaller than on the Wrangler. It's about a 32-inch diameter, and I wish it was bigger. So if I bought this Gladiator, I think I would give it a slightly larger tire, maybe a small lift as well.
Hey, you know what makes these 41s unique, Andre?
What?
Check this out. These are so cool. These are fake steelies. You know why?
Alumis.
That's right. They're made of aluminum to look like steel. How
Yeah.
crazy is that?
That's awesome.
Another difference between the Wrangler and the Gladiator is that I've got body-colored removable top, which I think looks cool. How about you, Andre?
Well, I have black removable top, but I love this because this Jeep is topless.
Yeah, it's the only, I believe, convertible truck, isn't it?
Well, not quite, because the Hummer EV also has a
Hold
similar
on. All
design.
right, let me rephrase that. It's the only non-electric
Yes.
convertible truck.
But also, this is half of what a Hummer would cost, brand new. So I would go for this if you want to go topless.
I also believe that myself and the Wrangler have you on fuel economy. According to the EPA, this bad boy gets 20 mpg combined.
Well, the EPA says this truck is at 19, so one less.
But is that true?
Well, that's why Case, Cole, and I, we did a Denver 100 mpg loop, which we're going to publish on our truck channel, and you're going to find out.
So you compare these two by taking them over 100 miles.
Exactly.
Yeah, check that out at alltfl.com.
Are you ready for this?
I'm ready. We're in the Gladiator now. And you know what I love about both this Gladiator and the Wrangler?
What?
In a world of screens, we have buttons and knobs.
And we do have a screen, but it's relatively small when you look at every other vehicle out there.
Are you going to go to low range?
Heck yeah.
Okay.
But not right now.
No?
Right now, I want to test head toss.
All right, let's see. Don't toss my head too much. There's a roll bar here.
Yeah, I know.
It's not that far away from the side of my head.
So the head toss, I mean, the axles are basically the same, except the suspension may be a little bit different in the back.
This should have better ride because of the longer wheelbase.
Oh, God.
But so far, I'd say it's about the same. It's also much better when you're holding onto a steering wheel.
Yeah, there's a, oh, you know what?
Than when you're not holding on to anything. Sometimes I think off-roading, you're much better off being the driver than the passenger.
Yeah, that's the thing about when you want to bring your significant other, maybe your children, your friends, they may not be having as much fun as the driver.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah, because you're actually doing something, whereas they're being tossed around.
All right.
Low range.
I'm going to go to low range. So first I have to go high.
That's a manly knob there, Andre.
Oh, it's this lever. You have to be very assertive with it.
That's what she said. So.
You have to handle it with some might.
Yes, you're there.
Okay.
You're going to go into off-road mode too to make it apples to
think
apples?
so.
All right, hit the off-road button.
I do have an Offroad Plus.
There you go. Nice.
But you know what I'm noticing, Roman?
You have a crappy turning radius.
Yes, my radius of turn is very much wider.
All right, so I went straight up Boulder Boulevard.
Yeah, so let me go up Boulder.
Let's see if you hit as often or as much as I hit in the Wrangler. So what do we have, about an inch less ground clearance in this?
Approximately, yeah, because the tires are a little bit smaller. And that's the whole thing, dude. A Gladiator looks good on bigger tires, right?
Oh yeah, especially a Gladiator.
Yes.
You feel in control?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm trying to take it very slowly, easy going.
Thank you. Appreciate my back appreciates it.
Yes. But something tells me I'm gonna hit.
You didn't hit. That's odd.
Well, I think I took almost identical line. I mean,
it's a mystery, Andre.
Or maybe you moved the boulders.
Yeah, maybe I moved them.
Do you think you moved the boulders?
It's a mystery. Don't know why. Yeah, it didn't hit at all.
Or maybe I chose slightly easier path.
It could be one of the other.
I don't like this sensitivity on my...
The throttle's too sensitive?
On the throttle, yes.
Yeah, in low range, it is very sensitive.
So I'm going into second gear.
Okay. Manually, of course.
Yes. These are 8-speed automatics, and we do have, 260 pound-feet of torque, which is not a lot, but we do have a lot of gearing.
Here's a question for our viewers.
What?
Which one do you think goes off-road more, the Gladiator or the Wrangler?
Oh, gosh.
I'm going to go with Wrangler.
Well, first of all, I think there's more Wranglers sold.
There for sure
Right.
are more Wranglers sold, a lot more. So yeah.
Dude, I have to go in the ditch here.
From that point of view, then certainly more Wranglers off-road than Gladiators.
But you mean percentage?
Yeah, if you know, apples to apples, if you were to factor that in. Like which owner is more likely to take their vehicle off-road? Is it
That's
the
a
truck
good
owner
question.
or the car owner?
I'm guessing the Wrangler.
All right, let's see how it does here, going up trenches. It's thinking. Going backwards. Yeah, figured it out.
So very similar. You know what I want to try?
What?
I want to try a rear locker.
All right, try
Because
it.
you didn't try it, I want to see the difference.
Okay.
It says rear only.
It locked right away too, which is nice.
Yeah, because sometimes in Tacoma, it takes a while to engage some of those items.
So this should have no thinking involved. It should just scurry right up.
Because it's mechanical, right?
Yeah. Now both wheels in
Dude.
the back are turning at the same rate. Yeah, that's a great demonstration of what lockers do.
That's sweet.
Yeah.
And the Wrangler has the same.
Yeah, same, identical.
All right, so now finally my approach and departure angle, right?
So far, I'm saying that the Gladiator's better off-road.
Oh, geez.
Yeah.
I did not expect this.
I did not expect it either, except for the turning radius and this.
And my sensitivity?
Yeah. You need to work on your toe movement, Andre. If I were your wife, I might just,
Wow.
use this as a tow rig for your boat and forget about the off-roading.
Yeah, I think if you went off-roading with me in this,
Yeah.
you would not be pleased.
All right. Let's see how. I think you got to go 35s on both of them.
Yeah. You gotta go with
All
a
right,
bigger
let's see
tire.
if you're going to hit.
So I think the front should be okay, right, Cole?
I don't think there's any hitting. Okay, let's see the back now. Hold on. Let Cole get it in the right position. Let's see if we hit anything. This is where you're saying it's worse. We need a steeper lava lane.
Is it hitting?
A tiny bit.
Where is it hitting?
On the exhaust.
Left bumper? Okay.
Oh, there you go. We did hit.
So we did touch the rear bumper,
yeah.
basically.
Now, normally, I like trucks better off-road just because they have a longer wheelbase
Yeah.
and it gives you a little bit better ride. But I don't like big trucks off-road because they're kind of hard to
Like
maneuver.
heavy duties.
Yeah, not a big fan of heavy-duty trucks off-road.
I'm impressed, dude. I'm actually
I
surprised.
am equally impressed. I guess the last thing we got to figure out is which one would we buy, given that they're almost identical in price.
Let's go check it out.
So Andre, I lied a little bit. The Wrangler is actually $57,500, whereas the Gladiator is $57,640. In other words, $140 more.
Yeah.
So if I gave you
Yes.
$57,640, would you save the $140 and get the Wrangler, or would you go for the Gladiator?
No, I think $140 is a small price to pay to get a truck. No, but seriously speaking, I love having a bed, right? You know, putting something, I don't know, an odd-shaped item or maybe doing a little bit of work around the property. I love having that bed.
Yeah, and I love having the off-road ability of the Wrangler. So I would go for the Wrangler just because it's a badass. And, you know, if you're going to get a truck, I say go for a full-size truck, not one of these little piddly mid-sizers.
But what about that topless roof, Roman?
Well, we both have that.
That wind in your hair. No, you talk
We
about the
both
full
have hair,
size.
we both have wind.
No full-size pickup has wind in your hair topless capability other than the Hummer.
All right, guys. Well, thanks for watching. We hope we've made this easier for you to decide whether you want a truck or a Wrangler.
I don't think we did.
I think we did either. But it was fun. We'll see you next time. Ciao. Hey, Andre, you're missing something very important.
What is that?
You're missing the duck. I have brought you one from Moab.
Oh, that's really special because I was a little bit left out because you had one and I didn't.
I have the Pilgrim duck.
I have a Jeep duck.
Yeah, put it in there so
Okay.
that we are ready to go.
You mean to wedge it here?
Yeah.
Roman, there's a problem. He's too big.
All right, hold on. I got a solution.
What is it?
Come on over here. I have another duck, Andre. I have the sheep duck.
Oh, beautiful. Actually, I like the sheep even better.
Sheep duck.
Wow.
Who would have thought of that? All right, see if the sheep duck fits.
Okay. At least it's not a black sheep.
No, it's a white sheep duck.
Okay. Actually, he needs to be
You gotta wedge him in there, dude.
a little solid.
There you go.
Yes.
Now we're both ducky.